At the beginning of the movie, the extreme heat from the sun has burned all the trees in the world to ashes. The resulting smoke fills the air, making it hard for people to breathe and leading to a slow but steady decline in the population. In Australia, a small group of people managed to survive in a city, but they too face the lack of oxygen. To stay alive, they wear artificial oxygen masks. This artificial oxygen is produced by a company called Chronocrop. The city's power supply comes from Chronocrop's artificial oxygen manufacturing lab, where a scientist named Richard works. On the day of his son Ethan's 8th birthday, Richard gives Ethan a gift. He tells Ethan to open the box, and when Ethan does, he finds a gadget that looks like a watch. As soon as Ethan puts it on, he feels a sharp pain and starts bleeding. Unable to bear the pain, he begins to cry. Ethan's mother rushes over and demands to know what Richard has done. Richard calmly explains that the gadget must stay on Ethan's wrist for the rest of his life. It will make him recognizable in this world. After delivering this cryptic message, Richard leaves. Shortly after he departs, Ethan receives a call from his father. Ethan's father, Richard, calls out to him and his mother, asking them to come closer. Ethan and his mother walk down the road wearing their artificial oxygen masks. Suddenly, some people attack them, shooting Ethan's mother and killing her. Their masks are ripped off, leaving Ethan vulnerable. He cries out for his father to come save him, but Richard doesn't arrive in time. Just as Ethan is about to be in serious trouble, a man skilled in martial arts appears. He gives Ethan an artificial oxygen mask and rescues him, taking him under his wing. Meanwhile, at Chronocrop, where Richard works in the electricity department, a critical power issue arises one day. Ethan attempts to resolve it, under pressure as an alert warns that failure to fix it within 30 seconds will result in a massive explosion. Despite the daunting challenge, Ethan manages to resolve the problem, showcasing his growing expertise in handling such crises. Later, as the workers finish their shifts, they line up for eye scan. Ethan joins them, temporarily removing his mask for the scanning process. As workers remove their masks, one begins to cough up blood, illustrating that not everyone can tolerate the artificial oxygen. This triggers oxygen sickness, a deadly condition claiming lives within days. Ethan witnesses a disturbing scene where a sick man sets himself on fire. This chilling event sets the stage for the movie 2067. After finishing his shift, Ethan heads home where he sees news reports detailing the city's slow death due to oxygen sickness. Meanwhile, Chronocrop, the company where Ethan's father works, is desperately seeking a cure. When Ethan's father's name flashes on the TV, Ethan reacts with anger and switches it off. His wife arrives home, and they discuss their concerns. Suddenly, she too shows symptoms, vomiting blood, a stark reminder of the disease's lethal grip. Ethan, already under pressure from work, fears for his wife's life as the grim reality sinks in. As officers forcefully summon Ethan to the ground floor, he becomes visibly frightened. Just as the situation escalates, Jude arrives and urges Ethan to leave with him to assess the situation. Meanwhile, in the office of Chronocrop's CEO, Regina discusses the city's deteriorating condition with Ethan present. She expresses grave concern over the declining population and seeks Ethan's help, much to his confusion. Regina takes Ethan and Jude to a high-tech laboratory where scientist Billy greets them warmly. Inside the lab, Billy unveils a remarkable discovery, a time machine concealed within a lamp. He explains that Ethan's father, Richard, had been instrumental in its creation. Richard had sent a message into the future, specifically to the year 2467, and received a response from 400 years ahead, emphasizing the importance of sending Ethan forward in time. Ethan is bewildered when he finds himself transported 400 years into the future, where people are thriving despite the deadly artificial oxygen that would swiftly kill anyone in his time. He's puzzled about how such a machine could exist and how these future people know him and his mission. Regina explains that Ethan has been sent forward through a time travel machine to meet the sender of a crucial message. His task is to seek out medicine for the oxygen sickness devastating their time. Despite Ethan's confusion and skepticism, Regina insists that he must journey to the future to save countless lives. Regina emphasizes that Ethan will need to confront the challenges and questions of this unknown future era, seeking answers from those who sent the message. Ethan, grappling with disbelief and uncertainty, prepares himself for the daunting journey ahead into the unknown future. Regina insists that Ethan must heed the call to travel into the future, locate the medicine needed, and return with it to save thousands of lives. However, Billy raises a critical issue. While they can send Ethan forward in time, they have no way of bringing him back. Regina reassures them that a solution for his return will exist in the future. Upon hearing this, Ethan expresses reluctance. He refuses to leave his wife, who suffers from oxygen sickness, alone in their time. He passionately insists on staying by her side, citing his promise to his father, Richard, to never abandon her. Jude intervenes, arguing that Ethan isn't just seeking a cure for others but for himself as well. Ethan, torn between duty and love, eventually shares the burden with his wife, explaining the gravity of the situation. His wife, deeply affected, confronts him for being seemingly selfish, reminding him of the devastating toll the sickness has taken taken on their community, where the number of children in her class has drastically dwindled. Ethan wrestles with his conflicting emotions, torn between the urgent mission to save lives and his unwavering commitment to his wife. Ethan's wife, understanding the gravity of the situation, urges him to embark on the mission to bring back the medicine from the future. She expresses her trust in him and assures him that she'll be proud if he succeeds. Ethan, deeply moved by her support, places a symbolic iron flower by her bedside at night, inscribed with the message, "I will be back." Unbeknownst to Ethan, his wife pretends to sleep, but secretly watches him leave, touched by his gesture. As Ethan arrives at the Chronocrop Company lab, Regina awaits him. He expresses his condition to Regina. If he obtains the medicine, his wife will be the first to receive it. Regina agrees to his request. Prepared in a time travel suit, Ethan is briefed by scientist Billy, who equips him with a sophisticated gadget. This gadget will document his journey and provide vital information. Ethan, resolute yet torn by leaving his wife behind, prepares to enter the time travel machine, determined to find the cure and return to save his wife and his people from the oxygen sickness. Ethan sits prepared in the time travel machine. Scientist Billy hands him a small, advanced gadget designed to record and provide information throughout his journey. With Jude's approval, the countdown begins, and at 0, a surge of energy envelops Ethan, propelling him through time at incredible speed until he lands in a dense jungle in the future. Upon awakening, Ethan finds himself engulfed in flames from his suit. Frantically trying to extinguish it, he eventually discards the burning suit. As he observes his surroundings, Ethan is astonished and overjoyed to see lush green trees and abundant natural beauty, an experience entirely foreign to his time. His initial happiness transforms into pure awe as he revels in the presence of such natural wonder, a sight he thought impossible in his world. Ethan, following the route guided by his advanced gadget, encounters a startling discovery: a basket marked with his name, Ethan Whyte. Shocked and confused, he inspects further and finds a skull with a bullet hole, bearing his name. Examining closer, he notices the same advanced gadget that Billy had given him, now in the skeleton's possession. As Ethan queries the new gadget about its origins, it offers no answers regarding time travel. Instead, Ethan notices a familiar clock in the skeleton's hand, a clock identical to the one his father had given him. This eerie encounter leaves Ethan grappling with unsettling questions about his journey and the mysteries of time travel. Ethan carefully examines both clocks in his hands, his current one with a red light and the old one from the skeleton glowing green. He activates the old gadget, which has only 2% battery left, allowing him to hear audio but lacking enough power for video playback. Despite his attempts to communicate through it, only audio responses are possible. When Ethan plays the last recorded incident, he hears dialogue followed by the chilling sound of a gunshot, causing him immediate distress. The audio abruptly cuts off as someone nearby reacts fearfully to the gunshot noise, coinciding with the gadget's battery running out. Struggling to place the familiar sound, Ethan realizes he's heard it before but can't recall where. This revelation deepens the mystery surrounding his journey into the future, compelling him to uncover its significance as he continues his quest for answers. After a while, electricity flickers to life and rain begins to fall. In the distance, a faint glow emerges, drawing closer. Ethan, suspicious that it might be his attacker, tries to flee but collapses from consuming poisoned fruit. The approaching figure swiftly administers an injection to Ethan's heart, saving him. When Ethan regains consciousness, he realizes the rescuer is his friend Jude. Jude explains he came to Ethan's aid after witnessing his struggle through the gadget's recording. Grateful, Ethan shows Jude the playback the next morning, leaving Jude equally amazed. Determined to find the medicine quickly, they decide to return home soon. Using the gadget, Ethan identifies a new route. As they follow it, they encounter a mysterious door. Ethan cautiously approaches, while Jude watches from a safe distance. An instrument emerges from the door, scanning Ethan's eyes, adding to the mystery of their quest. The second door opens and they step inside to find themselves in darkness. As they proceed further, they come across a system. A message displays welcoming Ethan. The system indicates that it needs to analyze his DNA. When Ethan places his hand before the system, the watch on his wrist automatically draws his blood. Ethan writhes in pain, but within seconds, the light on his watch changes from red to green. They realize they are still within the Chronocrop Company. Ethan instructs the system to display the last recorded incident. The display shows Richard at Ethan's 8th birthday, just as Richard was putting the watch on Ethan's wrist. The scene then shifts to the lab where Richard sends a message to the future using the time machine. The message from the future requests Ethan Whyte, leaving Richard, Regina, and Billy in shock. Regina asks Richard how the people in the future know his son's name, and Richard admits he doesn't understand. Regina questions why the future people are sending messages instead of coming directly to talk. Billy explains that power failures are preventing travel, and if there were no power issue, people could travel from the future to the present. After the video finishes, a power problem arises. Ethan becomes suspicious of Jude and asks why he, instead of a doctor or scientist, came to help him after he ate the poisonous fruit. Jude insists there's no time to explain and urges Ethan to solve the power problem so they can save his wife. Ethan accuses Jude of manipulating him by constantly mentioning his wife, leading to a fight between them. With only 3 hours and 30 minutes left before the time machine launches and the countdown ticking, they realize they need to accomplish 3 crucial tasks within this limited time. Now, in these 3 hours, they have 3 tasks. First, to find out who sent the message from their side to the future. Second, to get the medicine for oxygen sickness. And third, to repair the power supply, or else there will be a massive explosion. They head into the city, which is in ruins. Everything is destroyed, and the remaining people are wearing masks due to the severe lack of oxygen. The city is full of pits lined with the dead. No one is alive. Ethan goes to his wife's classroom and finds his wife and her students dead and laid in one of the pits. He notices the same flower he gave her before he left, clutched in her hand, with a note that read, "You will surely come back. I will pray to God." Seeing this, Ethan breaks down and starts crying, devastated. He laments that they won't be able to save anyone since everyone is already dead, and then he collapses against the wall in despair. While crying, Ethan laments that if he hadn't left his wife, none of this would have happened, and seeing all these people dead means their mission has already failed. But Jude tries to reassure him, saying, "Don't worry." Ethan then replays the last audio on the old gadget and recognizes Jude's voice. Suspicious, he wonders if Jude is the one who tried to kill him. Jude, hearing the audio, becomes visibly scared. He quickly pulls out a pistol and threatens Ethan, mirroring the voice in the recording. Jude insists, "I didn't shoot you, and you are not dead." The incident has changed. A warning message interrupts, announcing that if the power problem isn't resolved in 2 hours, there will be a massive explosion. Realizing they couldn't solve the first 2 issues, they decide they must at least fix the power problem. They both head to the tunnel. The place where Ethan needs to work is the same spot where they had initially encountered difficulties. Ethan attempts to fix the problem, but it's not resolved immediately. As he works, the door to the room starts closing, trapping him inside. Jude stands outside, watching the door close. Jude runs and stops the door, urging Ethan to come out. Ethan replies that if he leaves, no one will be there to solve the problem, and the explosion will destroy everything. He pushes Jude's hand away and gets locked inside. Jude shouts from outside as the oxygen in the room depletes. Despite this, Ethan manages to fix the problem but loses consciousness. Jude breaks down the door, rushes in, and drags the unconscious Ethan out. The power supply is reactivated, completing the 3rd task. Ethan then tries to understand everything that is happening, but Jude tries to keep him in the dark. This leads to a confrontation between the two. Ethan gets an idea. He removes the battery from his new gadget and inserts it into the old one, playing a video. During this, Ethan pushes Jude into a room and locks him up. Finally, Ethan watches the video to discover what happened to his father, Richard. It shows Richard talking to Ethan, explaining that if he has the DNA, the machine will be activated. Richard explains that the machine must not fall into the wrong hands, as it could be misused. He urges Ethan to save everyone, emphasizing the importance of keeping the machine secure. The scene shifts to Richard telling Ethan and his mother to come to him, followed by a phone call ending abruptly. Next, Regina and Jude are shown. Regina expresses a ruthless plan. Let everyone die so the world can regenerate and produce oxygen again. She wants to go to the future and believes only Ethan can survive there due to his DNA. Richard argues that his son's DNA is crucial for the machine's activation. Regina then turns to Billy, asking if he knows how to operate the machine. When Billy confirms, she immediately orders him to shoot Richard without hesitation. Richard dies instantly. Richard's death prevented him from saving his wife and child, explaining why he couldn't come to their aid. Watching this, Ethan finally understands and feels a mix of sorrow and anger towards his father. He breaks down in tears, realizing the tragic truth. Jude forcibly breaks out of the locked room and continues playing the video message. In the recording, Ethan witnesses shooting Richard and ordering Jude to capture Ethan's mother and bring Ethan to them, emphasizing his crucial role in their mission to reach the future. Shocked and angered by these revelations, Ethan confronts Jude, accusing him of manipulating and using him. Jude, desperate to prove his innocence and sincerity, denies any wrongdoing, tragically ends his own life in front of Ethan. Realizing that Regina's true agenda was to exploit DNA to activate the time machine, Ethan becomes determined to prevent them from succeeding. He recalls his father's earlier warning in a message about the dangers of the machine falling into the wrong hands. Meanwhile, in the past, Regina prepares with a small group to travel to the future. Confident that Ethan will soon be eliminated, she awaits Jude's return, planning to eliminate him as well once he arrives. As they prepare for the journey into the future, the countdown begins on the machine. Everyone anticipates Ethan's arrival with excitement, but their expectations turn to shock when they witness Regina standing amidst flourishing plants, accompanied by Richard. She has also sent a gift for Ethan's wife. Meanwhile, news from an anonymous source puts pressure on the police, exonerating Ethan. His wife is overjoyed to see this and realizes Ethan is innocent. Ethan's gift to another woman contains a real flower, bringing her immense happiness. This sequence of events marks a pivotal moment of relief and surprise amidst the complex and suspenseful narrative. After seeing the touching scene, tears welled up in her eyes. Now switching back to Ethan's life in the future, he runs through the city and witnesses lush greenery and a thriving population, bringing him immense happiness. This marks the end of the movie. Thank you for watching.